Hi, this is Chef Kevin, and I just made this amazing chicken Wellington. If you'd like to see how I made it, all you have to do is keep watching. Your Wellington is served. Hey folks, it's Chef Kevin. Tonight I'll be making another Wellington recipe. So far I made a beef Wellington, which was a filet mignon wrapped in puff pastry. And I also made a salmon Wellington. So tonight I'm going to be making a chicken Wellington. Wellingtons are proteins that are wrapped in puff pastry. It was actually created by the French, but capitalized by the English. And it's still served today in high-end restaurants. It's a rather complex recipe to pull off, but if you just focus, you can do it. So that's what I'm making tonight, chicken Wellington. But before I do that, I'm going to pick some fresh garden rosemary. This stuff smells so great. This is going to be great in the Wellington. Watch how I do it. And a little bonus tonight, I'm going to show you the sunset of last night. Now you can use fresh herbs, like I'm using garden rosemary. And I'm going to be using half of a shallot, and a little salt and pepper, and a little white wine too. Yeah, it's going to be nice and tasty. Now this is really the best part of the video because you can relax, listen to the music, maybe have a stiff cocktail like I'm having, and you can watch me make an ass of myself. So I have about 6 ounces of white button mushrooms here. Now you can use any type of mushroom you like, whatever you have available. It really doesn't make that much of a difference. The important thing is to chop them up fine. And what I'm using is a scraper device. It's not a knife. It can be used for various applications. And using it to chop up mushrooms is really quick and easy, and you can't cut yourself with this. Well, maybe if you tried. So yeah, I'm going to chop it up nicely. This takes about 15 to 20 minutes between the prep time and the cook time for the duxelle. And the duxelle is always in a Wellington. You can't have a Wellington without a duxelle. It just doesn't work that way. Now this looks like quite a lot of mushrooms, but after they saute down, you're going to have hardly anything left compared to what you see now. And that's because mushrooms are 95% water, like most vegetables. So I'm going to continue chopping. How are you enjoying that sunset? That sunset over the Chesapeake Bay, looking west, of course. The sun always sets in the west. And this is what I get in my backyard every day, unless it's cloudy out. So I'm not going to brag, though. Or maybe just a little bit. Okay, I'm almost there on the chopping. Nice and fine. You don't want a lumpy duck cell. Now, if you have any duck cell left over, you can put it on a chip or a cracker, a piece of bread, and just eat it like that. You can't just throw it out. I think I like saying the word duck cell. There you go. Finely chopped. Now for the rosemary from my garden. I'm going to strip the leaves off the stem. The stem is very fibrous, so I thought I could just cut it off, twist it off, but no, I have to cut it off. So I'm just going to simply pull the leaves from the stem and give that sort of fine medium chop. Now, this is something that if you were in the food business and you're a newbie, one of your jobs would be to prep the rosemary and prep the thyme and stuff like that. That's because it's a shit job. It's time consuming and it's laborious and boring. But if you show your bosses how well of a job you've done, you can move on to another shit job. So that's just about it for the rosemary. Next thing is the shallot. Now a shallot is very similar to an onion, but perhaps not as tart, not as harsh. And I'm only going to be using about half of this shallot. This is one serving, so it's not supposed to be a shallot Wellington. So I'm going to make 2 horizontal cuts, not all the way through, but pretty much all the way through. And then a series of several vertical cuts. I'm keeping the root intact. And I'm going to just give it some nice little chops there. This has to be fine chop like the mushrooms. You don't want to bite into a big piece of shallot. Thumbs up from Chef Kevin. And if you don't have a shallot, just use an onion. Nobody's going to know the difference except you. Okay, I'm using Kerrygold garlic and herb butter to saute the mushrooms in. This is really good stuff. So there's no need to add any extra garlic to this dish. That's about 1.5 tablespoons. And then I'm going to add a little grapeseed oil. This is a high heat cooking oil. The butter is going to melt down and get soaked up by the mushrooms, so that'll have a huge amount of flavor. I'm going to let that melt down just a little bit. Now, once the bubbles have subsided, that means the water has left the butter, and that's the best time to place your food into the pan. I kind of rushed it a little bit. but it all worked out good. Okay, mushrooms in. Gonna add a little sea salt, a little black pepper. Now, like I said, the key is to get all that water out of there. You can't have a watery duxelle because then your Wellington is obviously going to be watery as well, and that's not going to work. So here they're sauteing down. You can see there's still a lot of water in the pan. That all has to go away. Okay, here I'm about halfway through the cooking process. So I'm going to add my shallot and rosemary. And then I'm going to add a little white wine. Why not? Wine gives flavor. Wine is used pretty extensively in many cuisines, particularly French and Italian. Okay, so once again I have to cook down the duxelle, get rid of all that water. And that's about what it should look like. There's a little moisture there, but that's acceptable. Okay, so I'm going to set my duxelle aside. And I have a small saute pan here. 2 chicken fingers, or chicken, not nuggets, chicken tenderloins, salt and pepper, a little cayenne pepper, just to give it a little heat. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to get some color on these. I'm not going to cook them through. This gets baked, of course. And this will only take about 3 to 4 minutes, really. Okay, they're just about done. So I'm going to take them off the heat and put them on the side. You cannot have a hot protein or even a hot duxelle in the Wellington at this point because it'll destroy the phyllo dough. Yeah, that's my Walmart phyllo dough. It comes frozen and it comes in 3 pieces that are folded together, so you have to unfold it. But I want to get those creases out of there. So I put a little flour on the cutting board and just stretching it out a bit. It's a little too thick. I want to get about 1/8 of an inch or so, maybe a little bit more, but nothing less than 1/8. Okay, so I was recently castigated by a viewer who said I ruined a Wellington because I put cheese in there. Well, perhaps he would be right 100 years ago. There was no cheese in a Wellington, but modern cooking includes the use of cheese. So I hope you're watching this video, my friend. Okay, the cheese is down, 2 slices of Swiss, and I'm putting the duxelle, which is room temperature, on top of the cheese. And I'm shaping the cheese and the duxelle to the approximate size of the chicken tenderloins. Now what I'm doing here is I have 2 slices of pork sausage, and I'm going to wrap the tenderloins in the sausage and then place it on the duxelle. Now this adds a good amount of taste, but it also adds some fat, and that's important because the chicken tenderloin is white meat, so there's minimal fat on a chicken breast. That's why it's healthier, but it's also drier and easier to overcook. So this will add some fat and some flavor, no doubt. And I'm just going to fold it up, stretch it out. Sort of like that. And that's too much dough, so I'll just trim that off. The rest of that dough is not necessarily waste at this point. You'll see. So I'm folding it up. Right now it's upside down. Now it's right side up. So as it cooks, the cheese will melt down into the duxelle and the chicken and the pork, and it's going to be really, really tasty. So I'm egg washing the duxelle, the Wellington at this point, and thus to make it brown up nice and make it nice and crispy. The egg wash is simply 1 beaten egg with a few drops of water in it to thin it out a bit. But this is very important. Okay, so here I am, and I'm trying to convince you that I'm not only a chef but an artist. So I'm going to cut a few thin strips and just lay it across the Wellington and egg wash that as well. In the meantime, I have my oven heating up to 425 for approximately 25-30 minutes. You don't have to do this step. There's other ways to decorate it. You don't even have to do that, but it makes it look more interesting. Looks are everything. That's why the cosmetic industry is multi-billion dollars. Right, girls? You want to look good. I get it. I like it. Okay, that's about as good as it gets for now. A little egg wash. Okay, I'm going to put this on a piece of foil and then put it in on a sheet rack. Thumbs up, Chef Kevin. There you go. Okay, that's what it looks like. After 30 minutes, it's nice and browned off, nice and crispy and puffy. So now while that cooks down, I'm going to make a little chicken gravy. You have to have some type of gravy with
just about any meal, any recipe. Now, traditionally speaking, a Mornay sauce would be used for a Wellington. A Mornay sauce is simply a cheese sauce, very similar to the mac and cheese type sauce. So what I'm doing now is I'm toasting the flour to bring out the nice nutty flavor that's in the flour. And this just takes a few minutes, really. 3 to 4 minutes over like a medium heat. So that was 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of butter. That's your basic roux. And the roux just thickens the sauce. It's a thickening agent. So I'm going to stir this around for a while. Now I'm going for a blonde roux, which is a light roux. There's basically blonde roux and dark roux. And the difference being, yeah, a darker roux is perhaps more tasty, but it's not going to be a very good thickening agent when it gets dark. So a blonde roux is better for a chicken sauce or chicken gravy. And who doesn't love a blonde, right? We are still talking about roux, aren't we? Okay, yeah, so I'm going to let that cook down. It's going to thicken up a bit. It has to solidify. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of chicken stock. Stir that around. Cook that down for 3-4 minutes just to get the flour taste out of there. In the meantime, the Wellington is resting. You can't cut open a hot Wellington. That's my Food Line chicken stock. Okay, this has to thicken up a little bit better. It's bubbling away. It's doing its thing. You can see it's getting firmer. It should get a little firmer than that, but I was kind of rushing it. It worked out good though. Okay, that's 1 cup of chicken stock. Yeah, so I'm making this sauce instead of the Mornay sauce because there's already cheese in the Wellington, so it's not supposed to be a cheese Wellington, it's a chicken Wellington. Okay, that's going to thicken up. Okay, so here we have it. I cut it in half. I wish I would have showed you that, but I was having some sort of technical difficulties. But at any rate, that funny looking potato is actually a Hasselback potato. And I'll link that at the end of this video. Basically, it's a very old school potato, well, 1950 or so. And I think it was created by Chef Hasselback. I think it was either Sweden or Norwegian. I don't know offhand. I can't remember that. But it's sliced up very thinly, and then it's cooked with garlic and herbs, and it's just so fantastic. I don't know why they don't make that anymore. There's my sauce. Put that right on top. We eating good tonight, folks. Or at least I am. And I'm serving that on a bed of baby lettuce. Sorry, baby spinach. Well, it looks good, but how does it taste? I'm going to add a little cayenne pepper on top of that sour cream. That'll be a good look. That'll give just a little heat. I'm actually going for the potato first. I haven't made this potato in a long time. Can you get those at Mickey D's? I don't know. Come to Papa. And for the Wellington, I wish I could have showed you a little bit better what the interior looks like, but I was kind of faded out at this point after a long day. But believe me, it was really good. I really love that pork sausage in there. No, the spinach, that's the healthy part there. This is vegan. Get a little bit more chicken and sausage. Come to Papa. That phyllo dough is so good. Just another little piece. Now, I'm sorry I'm using my hands, but I'm at home. Of course, if I was at a restaurant or a guest house, I wouldn't be doing that.
Okay, folks, thanks for watching this video. Perhaps you learned something. Perhaps you were slightly entertained. At any rate, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. Really appreciate that.
How about new?
Oh, don't listen to that fool, Mr. Evil. Get off my channel.
Talk to the hand, because the face don't want to hear it anymore.
Okay, folks. If you like me or my channel, then throw me a friggin' bone here.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.